it's Nicole. I'm here today with ThermOWeb for our team up with the folks at Waffle Flower. Today I'm going to create this layout using some fun Waffle Flower dies and some transfer gel adhesive from ThermOWeb and using some fun deco foils too. So I have the two Waffle Flower dies I'm using are the doily circle die as well as the lacy flowers die, and they're both like a doily type image, as you can see. So I'm just going to secure that to my Gina cardstock using the purple tape. What I love about the purple tape is it's not going to rip my paper when I remove these dies later, and it's going to hold it securely in place while I run it through that manual die cut machine. So I've run the images through a few times, and I'm just going to clean up the inside images of the die. You can see there's lots of tiny little intricate details, so I'm just going to pop those out with this tool I have. And you can see it gets all the little bits out, and I want to have all the inside and outside pieces available for when I do my transfer gel technique. Okay, so now that I've created a mess, I'm going to create an even bigger one using the transfer gel. I didn't really want to waste the transfer gel, so I wanted to cover the doily over top of a piece of cardstock like I'm doing here. I'm just going to spread it a thin layer with my palette knife, and I'm going to rub it over top of the cardstock front. And I'm not being super clean about it. I want a kind of a bit of a messy kind of look. So I'm just scraping from top to bottom that transfer gel, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to peel that off. And I'm going to keep the doily set aside so I can use that to transfer later. So here I have my doily, and I decided I wanted to do this a few more times just so I had some options. So I'm going to take my other die cuts that I've done, and just on my craft mat I'm going to do the exact same process, just scraping that transfer gel with my palette knife over top of those doilied image. And you don't really need to waste anything at this point either, to be honest, because you can take either a palette knife like I have here or just an old gift card, sort of something you can scrape that off the craft mat, and you can just deposit the transfer gel back into the tub. So you really can't waste a lot of stuff. Now that I have those all transfer gelled, I'm going to go ahead and just set those aside. They probably need about 15 or 20 minutes just to get nice and dry and ready for the deco foil. So I'm going to use some 3D foam squares here to pop up my photo, and then I'm going to get started on decorating my layout. So really simple here. I want to let the foils on those pretty doilies shine through. So I'm just going to add a little bit of mist and then add some pattern paper to the back of my background and go ahead and get finished on the rest of the page. So I'm just going to let that dry, and I'm going to be careful here not to smudge that black stuff, but I'm going to just take some squares of paper that I've cut, and I'm not really measuring or anything. I'm just randomly kind of placing these squares onto my background in a random kind of pattern. I'm keeping in mind where I want to keep that photo later on, and I'm just trying to add some color and pattern to different parts of the page. So I'm just going to kind of place things around my photo and layer them over top. So layering, and lots of different squares. So I'm also keeping in mind where I'm going to put my doilies later on. I know I'm going to use one here on the left side of the page in around that squared area, and then kind of one tucked in beside my photo. So I'm trying to leave some open space on my background so that those will be able to be seen really well and not get lost in all that pattern paper. So now I'm just going to kind of clean up my doily a little bit when my transfer gel is dry, but sometimes there's a little tiny bit of overlap from the die cut area onto the open area in the doily, kind of like a spider web effect is what I like to call it. So I'm going to clean these doilies up just a tiny bit with my paper piercer and then lie them here into my parchment paper. Today I'm going to use the really pretty color Pewter Deco Foil. It's kind of like a black foil, to be honest, but mixed with silver. So it's kind of like a shiny silvery black, and really pretty. Not quite as dark as a black would be, but really, I want to almost call it like a graphite type color. Really pretty. So I'm just have a few doilies here I've already got ready to go, and so I'm going to take my Deco Foil transfer sheet and I'm going to just stick that over top and then run that through my laminator. So it won't take very long, as you know, to get that going through there. My laminator is nice and warm already. So I'm just going to clean up a few more doilies that I have sitting here that I'm also going to run through with that same pewter color of Deco Foil, just to add all the embellishments on my page. So once I have those doilies all done in the laminator, I'm just impatiently waiting for them. Here they come. So I'm going to go ahead and just pull them out. you can see here my really pretty doily, and two of them kind of got stuck together. They moved a little when I had placed them in the parchment, and that's my fault. But I'm still going to use them the way they are, just stuck together like that. I'm going to layer them side by side behind my photo, and I'm going to use the mixed media adhesive just to get those stuck down. It's really great for little more intricate things like this. So I'm just going to trim one of the doilies in half. It's almost too pretty to tuck underneath all that paper, so I'm going to save half of that for another project. And then I'm just trying to figure out which other parts of the doilies that I want to use for embellishments. I'm going to add a foam adhesive in behind this smaller one here, and I'm going to peel the backing of my foam adhesive from my photo because I actually hadn't done that yet. So it was stuck there from the liquid adhesive and not from the foam. So I'm going to get that down on the page and commit to that, and then kind of play around with where I want to put my doilies. I'll tuck some in behind my photos, my photo I should say, and then along my pattern paper strips. And I end up moving that smaller doily that I stuck down with the foam adhesive, just because I hadn't really thought at this point where I put my title. And so I realize now that that is kind of the area where I'm going to put my title on the page. And so I have these really pretty doilies now, and I have lots left over because usually when I do something like this, I have way more done than I need. So it's always good to have a bunch done all at once so that you can just grab them out of your stash when you need them. And these enamel dots are really great, but they're not super sticky, so I like to take those and add them on with a Zot just to make sure that those are not going to be wiggling around or falling around. And then because I moved that foam adhesive a few times, it lost some of its tackiness, so I'm just going to use a Zot to make sure that's adhered down. I'm going to grab an ink pad here and stamp over top of a foam letter sticker that I have here for my title. I'm going to peel that off, and then I'm going to add that onto my page, just tucked in and around those pretty doilies that I foiled all up, and add a little more black ink just because there were some gaps. And just a few little tiny embellishments, and then this page will be complete. And now I'm going to start working on that card again. So you can see here it's all dried. You can kind of see the shiny texture. And I have to admit, I actually did this twice. Once with this pretty rainbow deco foil, and one with another deco foil that is the pink and orange, and the name escapes me at the moment, but I will make sure to link that in the comments. And it's this one here with the pink and the gold kind of ombre. And so I end up using this one here for the rest of this video just to make the card. So I ran it through the laminator. As you can see, when I peeled off the deco foil, you get that really pretty gradient pink and gold kind of color. And so I'm just going to add a really simple sentiment on a pennant flag to the front of the card, and use foam adhesive to pop that on the front. And really that's all there is to making a really simple pretty card. A few little pieces of bling just to kind of get that bling from the foil down near the sentiment, and voila, how simple was that? So that transfer gel, you can see how you can use it in two different ways. One technique, two different ways. So you made pretty foiled background card, and look at the pretty foiled embellishments on my layout here. I love the soft detail of the waffle flower dies, and it was so easy to add the foil with that transfer gel. I'm totally doing this one again. So thanks for stopping by. I will see you again soon. Thanks. Have a good day.